Waves crash on the beach of an endless sea. In them you hear a voice, a beckoning lure you have heard so many times before. It is the song of the horizon. She calls to you. She sings of endless wonders and untold horrors, of golden promises and dire warnings, and you know her song. It has always been there. Listen, can you hear it? The wind is in your favor, the tide is rising, the sea is yours for the taking, and your ship awaits. Fair winds and following seas, brave mariner. May fortune find you when the horizon calls.
Ahoy and welcome everybody. Welcome to a very special episode of Horizon's Call. An episode a long time coming, it feels like, and yet also a short time because what is time? One of many existential questions that we're going to ask here. This episode is a very special episode where you can see I'm not joined, as always, by the usual wonderful people, but at least one of them. I am Derek Sword. I am your GM for this game. I am the Sword Half of Sword and Key, and this is an episode, a character feature episode, not only for the character that Kaila will be playing. We'll have introduce herself and her character here momentarily, but also the NPC that is her partner in a surreal sort of setting. So we will set all of that up here in just a moment. Before all of that, and before I let Kaila talk, and I stop talking myself, I need the spotlight. Um, I do want to say that this is a Sword and Key game. You can check out all of Sword and Key's stuff at beacons.ai/Sword and Key. You can find all of our socials there. You can find our affiliates there if you're looking to get cool stuff. One of our affiliates that we're super proud to be an affiliate with, of, and by, nope, is Hit Point Press. And they make really cool stuff like the Humblewood books. This is Humblewood Tales, which is a collection of all of their one-shots, as well as some new enemies, some new stat blocks, some new items, and also all of that stuff and more, not just for Humblewood, but from all D&D games, for Griffin Saddlebag too, which has some modules in it, as well as items and stat blocks and new class options. Really cool stuff. They have all of that. They have even more. They have animated spell cards. They have uh, games like Heckna and If I Were a Lich Man. Great pun, by the way. Um, yeah, you're guaranteed to find something that you like there. So check out our custom link for Hit Point Press, as well as our other affiliates, Wishbone Cosmetics if you're looking for some cool makeup, Eldritch Foundry if you're looking to make a custom mini. Yeah, lots of cool stuff that we're affiliated with. We're super proud to be, and we'll hopefully soon have a Dice affiliate to shout out as well. Also, on our beacons, you can join our Discord, hang out with cool people. You can also see all of our ongoing philanthropic endeavors. Typically, our Horizons Call game would be using Pally to tip our players. We here at Sword and Key do not break even as far as whatever we make from Twitch versus the licenses that we pay to produce all of this stuff. So we typically would lean on Pally to evenly distribute blah blah blah. Pally is not a thing anymore, doesn't exist. I'm not going to shout them out. Their website literally just comes up with nothing. So we can't do that anymore. So, well, at least for this game, Kaila has been wonderful enough to suggest that we do a continuation of our campaign for Fauna and Flora International, a wonderful organization, UK-based organization that works to preserve and protect this world's biomes and the creatures within them, and better integrate human encroachment into those habitats. Currently, the game that's mainly in support of that is Humblewood. This game will also be in support of that. So do be aware that if you use the link, it's going to show that it's in British pounds sterling when you donate. So there's a conversion rate, but all donations are very much appreciated and will impact this game as donations typically would. So there's still advantages, there's still crits, there's still complications that you can offer. Um, the other thing, I think that was the other thing. I don't know. If I think of the other thing, I'll come back to it. But I think that was the main thing. So, Kaila, who are you playing today? Who are you? What are we doing here? I'm scared.
You're
No, I'm fine.
scared. You at
No,
least have
everything's fine.
some semblance of what's going on.
That's what you think.
Hi, hello. I'm Kaila. Use she her pronouns. I play our Siren Storm sorcerer Scarlet Shores, who also uses she her pronouns. And this was when we had our two lovers down and out with the
Yeah. So
Durgar King?
yeah, during the Durgar game. My thought was this could be then. This could be any time that Scarlet, in between then, that Scarlet and Marcus have both rested, uh, whether consensually resting or knocked unconscious. But in a time of strife and frustration, in a time between, you know, both falling in combat, seeing each other fall, especially in that one a couple of times, getting that close to death. Scarlet, then after experiencing Marcus potentially falling to his ultimate demise, a demise that they would not be able to bring him back from, only to find that he found a family member who then backstabbed him and then found their way back to the material plane only for a holiday, and then devils are involved, and it's just things have been a lot for this couple. This couple who have, since they've known each other, gone through quite a bit. Since Scarlet Shores took command of what was then the Bloodhound, then, rechristening it, holding a command, taking a first mate and making him a romantic partner, a lot has transpired between the two, whether it be where shark curses, discovered families, discovered names, going
Kidnapping.
missing. A kidnapping, yes, absolutely. The breaking of a pact, a an eldritch swarm and storm in the middle of that, fighting giants of multiple kinds, discovering new cities, discovering long lost places, and all the while adventuring and strengthening their bond between each other. It only makes sense that that bond would extend beyond what we would consider the realm of physicality and reality. What are dreams, really? If we could consider that, science would tell us that they're just little bits of electricity firing off in our brain, taking bits of memory here and there, reshaping them into a pseudo narrative just to keep us from, you know, getting too bored while we sleep. Ultimately, we don't really know why we dream, and there's been many writers who have, put their words to it. Poe once said that we are constantly waking a dream within a dream. There is Marcia Norman, who is a famous playwright, once said that dreams are illustrations from the book of your soul, which I think is a very beautiful way of putting it. So when we dream, they are always pieces of ourselves. You will never dream something that is nothing you have never seen before, or it might be a chimeric creation, a creation of many things you've seen before. You can never imagine a new face when you dream. Every face you've ever seen of every person in any dream is a face you've seen before, even for half a second. Your brain might remember that. And in a world of magic and fantasy and plainer nonsense, it makes sense that dreams would also have their own place, a realm of their own, a realm where that sort of creation stems from. And so, as Scarlet and Marcus, regardless of the time that they are in, both close their eyes, whether due to a contusion or just the need for rest, a dream occurs. Dreaming with your partner. Most people who have partners who sleep next to them will dream alongside, but to share a dream with. Let's see what happens. Caleb, Scarlet has passed into the realm of dreams. What is a reoccurring dream that Scarlet has experienced in the past? What are Scarlet's nights like? Is she restless? Is it always something surreal? Does she remember her dreams, or is she haunted by them? What is, if she was going to average out, what do you think Scarlet's experience might be?
I definitely think there are a lot like tides, where there are some where it's really just standard things, past memories, slightly odd scenarios. There are nights where there are the nightmares and the shadows that creep in. But I think most often, Scarlet would dream of her first home. She'd dream of the fen before it was skewed and before she realized it was, in fact, just Eula. That the place that she spent majority of her life at. That she can remember anyway.
Then you find yourself in what is that familiar place. That place that used to provide comfort to you. Um, do you think you'd arrive in your living quarters, or do you think it's memory of that tavern there?
Probably the tavern.
Then at the tavern you find yourself. I apologize. I will manipulate music once Roll20 wants to stop being a pain in the ass. But the tavern materializes around you, fuzzy at the edges, but all the same, there are backs turned to you. There's music playing. You can tell that there's people about, but the people are wispy at the edges. You get that sensory of like the pipe smoke and the smell of stale beer that always just kind of like hits the nostrils a little too strong. But it smells like home. It smells like comfort, and it smells like merriment. This is one of those good nights on the fen. Maybe a ship has come in and was successful on its recent voyage, but someone has decided to buy drinks for everyone, and so you have this this kind of general joy that's being kind of passed around. And then you hear a voice to your left, a familiar voice. Maybe not one that's appeared in dreams like this before. Maybe he has. Maybe there's been times where it's kind of like, where you wake up, you're like, I don't remember him having been there, but I guess enough of a connection. But there's a clarity to his voice. Sometimes when you hear voices in dreams, they almost sound like they're coming through water. They sound muffled or deafened, or they're slow, or they might repeat themselves. But his voice clear as a bell, and it says, I never had the opportunity to see this. I have to imagine this must have been uh, quite a good time on certain nights.
What? Wait.
Oh, sorry. I've been here for a little bit. Um, this is hello, darling. By the way, I presume this was a tavern that you spent quite a time on. You've described the fen to me once or twice, and I'm picking up that this might be one and the same.
Yes. I. Is this? I am dreaming.
We are dreaming. Yes.
We are dreaming.
Yes, I fear that. Well, things get weird. I've been swimming for quite some time, figuratively and literally. Uh, it feels like days, but I suddenly found myself here, and I have no recollection of this place. And then I saw you, and you stand out like a rose amongst thorns, and here we are. So I have to imagine that you've been pulled into this same space that I have, and well, as always, I would rather stick with you than the shades about.
This is all very, very strange. I feel like I've been here forever, but not long at all.
Yes.
I hate being self-aware of my own subconscious. Don't like it.
It's a bit odd. And the whole, if you realize you're on a dream, it means you can fly sort of thing.
I can do that
Unfortunately.
anyway.
Okay, alright, well,
I forget not all of us have magic. Like that.
I have magic, I just
I
don't
said
have
like
flying. It is odd that we find ourselves here, and
that.
trust me, it
Especially
doesn't.
here.
Well, what I've learned in my have to imagine minutes of real time, and yet it feels like days of dream time, is that we can't affect intent as much as we might like. I am still unable to fly, and I have found myself almost falling into old narratives. And I can't help but feel that there's something pushing us along.
Like old memories that aren't quite real? Real places. But maybe not actual things that happened?
Sometimes.
Sometimes. But
I can only assume that there's a reason we both are here.
this is the beggar's choice. This is the only tavern that was on the fen. It was where I got a lot of my information for Eula. I spent days sitting in that corner, watching, waiting for people to come in from the ships. Some great, others not. This was my office.
And what was behind that door? And he points off to your right at a slatted wooden door that you know, you have the correct memory that it is in reality was an average slatted wooden door that you might find in any type of like shack, like wooden shack built in a swampy area just to allow for some airflow. The slats all slid down so that you couldn't necessarily see in, but somebody could see out. And yet here in your dream, everywhere around it is blackened with some sort of stain all extending out from the door itself. And you can feel, even as you're sitting here, this cold air kind of like biting out at you from it.
That is where Eula would conduct a lot of her business.
Huh.
It's where deals were made and souls were sold. And I got to be a part of most of it.
I see. Then perhaps this is not a place you'd like to stay.
Not long, anyway.
Whenever you're ready to leave, doors I found have a literal way of leading us to other places.
Are there any other doors other than Eula's?
Yeah, Eula's is definitely there. The front door is there as well. It seemed like it has like a type of what you might interpret as sunlight coming through, but there's definitely this haze around it where you can't fully remember. Was it a double door? Was it a single door? Was it like those like cowboy
Saloon.
swinging doors? Yeah,
Saloon doors.
yeah. It's kind of like this shattered mirror of kind of all of those together.
That door doesn't look usable.
Well, through, I believe, is the way to go.
I guess sometimes you have to face what you're terrified of. Even if it is something your brain has manifested.
If you would like that, I don't see any reason we must face our nightmares tonight. But I'm by your side for all of it.
I'll just go and walk through Eula's door.
Your hand like feels cold as it's reaching for the handle, and as you grab onto the door, you feel like this kind of darkness surrounding and then pulling you through. And as you are, you find yourself in just this kind of like darkened space. There's a little bit of light coming from an unknown source above. It seems to be coming through something, maybe like with bars or maybe slatted, kind of extending downwards. And you see a young boy on the floor. He's kind of like, he's dressed in like these kind of like tattered, kind of ratty clothes. It looks like, they're browned with stain and dirt and everything else. You realize, like, as you're kind of, as the image is forming around you, that you're in the second level down, the lower deck of the ship, the crew deck of a ship. And the light coming through is coming through the stairway. It's just this moonlight kind of casting this spotlight on this boy. And he's on the ground. He has his hands over the back of his head, and he's just surrounded by all of these, again, kind of hazy figures, but adult figures all the same. And you can hear these very angry voices, and there's like bottles that are smashing around him, and you see one of them kind of give him a shove, but he just keeps holding there. And you can see that, his fingers that are kind of read through his hair. He has this very kind of like bright, almost fiery looking hair. And you can feel like Marcus tensing up at your side.
That's you.
I suppose. Yes, that is me. Yeah. This was early on the Bloodhounds. Um, I was a stowaway, and this was shortly after I was found. One one nightmare seems to lead to another. It seems. I was so scared. I imagined that I would be found. I knew that was a possibility, but I'd always written stories about pirates being adventurers, and they were less than happy. They said it was a sign of bad luck, threatening to throw me overboard, threatening to do even worse than that.
And no one stopped them.
No, he did. And you watch as the light kind of starts to glow with like this kind of yellow golden sort of light, and this figure comes walking down those steps to the crew deck. And perhaps for the first time you might have seen a painting before, but for the first time you see, as to Marcus's memory, to the way that his brain has reconstructed a three-dimensional recreation of Captain Cross. This was the part that always scared me the most. It was Captain Cross had a reputation, and it's part of why I chose his ship, but I didn't know what was going to happen next. And you watch as the captain walks in the middle of the circle towards the boy, and kind of reaches down, and as he does, the room kind of just fills with light, and you are transported. The room reconfigures around you. The spectral smoke of dreams reconforming around you to show now the young boy sitting at a captain's table with a full meal on a plate, as the captain sits with him in this like warm candle glow. A blanket placed over him. He was the first one to give me a chance, to see me as more than an error, or uh, someone who was just begging. He gave me a shot. He gave me everything that I have now. And that's why this next part is perhaps the part that hurts the worst. And again, you kind of get these flashes as the dream forms around you, almost like windows opening around you as you see, these like almost montage-esque flashes of Marcus and Captain Cross training, or learning to read maps, training to use a sword, how to navigate by the stars, how to calculate winds, how to, understand how to navigate through treacherous seas. Everything that a captain would need to know, and even these moments where Captain Cross would impart to him the wisdom that he had gained, the concept that Marcus would be the one to take the helm when Captain Cross inevitably retired. And then it reforms again to that darkness, that same spot where Marcus had been a boy surrounded by sailors, and in that spot of moonlight you can see Captain Cross's body splayed out with a blade sticking out of him, his blood kind of darkening into this moonlit pool all about his body. And standing over him, pulling that blade uh, from the captain's chest, is Brindle Kane, who then looks to the two of you. Well, are you going to follow your new captain or not? And he points a sword, right at Scarlet and Marcus.
I'm glad we killed him.
I am too.
Just not soon enough.
There's only so much you can do to affect the path of things.
I probably still would have taken the ship.
You would have tried.
Oh no, I would have.
Well, I'm glad it didn't happen then, because I'm not sure I would have been as supportive.
Oh no, you would have tried to kick my ass. Let's be real. You would have tried to throw me overboard. I don't think it would have been easy. But you had an awful captain at that helm, and you had a broken crew. We also had a very large centaur who might have rammed your ship first. But
That is certainly true. I'm still glad she didn't eat any of us.
she might have thought about it.
If anything, I am glad that I did not take the helm from Captain Cross. I am glad that it did pass along to you, and that my service to this ship is tied as much as my service to you, for I would hate more than anything to serve somewhere where you were not.
The me now. Maybe not back then.
Like I said, we can't change the course of things. The tides will pull and push as they do, and we can only create ripples. But I'm glad that the tides brought us together the way when they did, the way that they did. I'm not sure it would have worked any earlier or later than that.
It's a good thing those Flittons have big mouths also. I really did not trust you. At all. And then I had 4 little Flittons in my ear when I could talk to them. All just babbling about how this amazing fireman saved them after being kidnapped. Catnapped? Flitton-napped?
Well, I do believe there is a tradition of firemen and saving cats, to be fair.
It's a fireman.
I'm a fireman. I think it's time to move along.
You can go first this time.
He walks up to Brindle Kane, who's still like holding the blade out, and just knocks it out of his hands. You were such an embarrassment, Roger. And just walks past him as Brindle Kane is kind of just like fading into this mist. That was a real name, by the way. Brindle's just a title that he took because he thought it made him sound like an extra piratey. His name was Roger.
I made my own name. Also?
Which is much better than Roger.
Yes. But Brindle Kane isn't an awful name. It just happens to be for an awful person.
Fair.
Some might say the same about me, but okay.
Well,
apparently we can't make up our own names now.
Yes, to be fair, Marcus Ashe does sound made up for who I am. But...
It absolutely does.
As you have this conversation walking up the steps to the top deck, Scarlet, where would we travel to next?
The unicorn.
Okay. Describe for me what Scarlet sees in most detail and maybe what she sees in least detail.
It's the top deck. Probably one of the first few days of sailing on the unicorn way back when. Scarlet's first real time away from the fen. There are people, but they are blurs. The crew members, everything like that. but there's one person who is in full detail. And that would be Corvus.
Well, I suppose I should be jealous, but he is quite handsome, and also it feels wrong to be jealous of someone who's no longer with us. You've mentioned him before, but you've never. What was he like?
He was the first person I had met on the Fen that didn't think the same way as everyone else. Certainly had been ingrained in his brain, the same, very similar to how the honor and bravery and such, the same as Proximus, but there was something different. He was funny. He loved to sometimes laugh at me when very unfortunate things happened. Things of which I could not control, like falling through the floorboards of the walkways on the Fen, but you know. Stuff rots when it's in a swamp. But he did call me on when I wasn't acting on my own volition. If I was just mindlessly following orders, would it be, why are you doing this? Instead of just nodding along with everything. There always had to be a good reason. I couldn't just say because she told me so. He broke me out of the cage I'd put myself in. I'd gotten so used to just being her lapdog. I had forgotten that I was my own person at one point. I had wonder, I liked learning things. I liked knowing who people were. But eventually it all just came down to doing everything I had to do for the Fen, for Eula. I completely lost myself.
Corvus is standing off the starboard front of the ship, starboard fore of the ship, staring out as the surf kind of crashes up to him. And as he always does in this portion of your dream, he turns and he smiles to you, and he tries shouting something, but just as he does, this wave kind of rocks the ship a little bit, and whatever he says is lost to the wind and waves. And it's just that fingertips touch away from hearing his voice one more time. But it's just never quite enough. But still he smiles and he waves and he beckons you to come closer, but you know that if you try to take a step, it's like your feet are glued to the floor. And still he smiles. And eventually that smile turns away from you, back out to the ocean. And you know that you'll, at least tonight, never see his face again. He seemed like a real dick, real piece of shit, real jerk, honestly. I mean, are you kidding? Like,
I thought we weren't going to be jealous over people who were dead.
I don't know. I'm trying to help. I mean, are you kidding me? How am I supposed to compare to that?
I
He's wearing a crop top. How many abs do you need?
I take it upon myself not to compare the two of you.
I appreciate that.
Two very different people who have loved two very different versions of me.
That's fair.
I like to think that Corvus taught me how to love, but you reminded me how to.
Let's make a in-dream mental note to put a candle out for him this coming holiday.
Yeah. So do you have any dead exes that we're going to meet along this way? Or
That is, again, the tough thing about being a sailor, and the fortunate thing that I find myself living with is that my captain is also an incredibly beautiful woman that I can spend an abundance of time with, and who wants to spend an abundance of time with me. Um, the past has always been short, broken promises. And after I met you, I couldn't remember a single one of their faces. So, none of that for me.
just living ones then, got it.
Now, your friend Fia, on the other hand,
Pretty sure she already said she was not interested. In you, not me. You specifically.
I'm aware. Thank you. Yes.
I think it might have been the fact that I would have had a knife at her throat. But who knows? Could just be a matter of opinion.
Mm-hmm. We can stay here as long as you need.
I have done my morning. I have made my peace as much as I can now that I know that I am not the one who killed him. We can go.
I know we haven't done a lot of rolls this session. This has been mostly a kind of free flow, but let's go ahead and do a roll real quick. Scarlett, if you would like to give me a wisdom saving throw, please.
18 plus 8. So 26.
Great.
I forget that my wisdom saves are plus 8.
It's just wild. Absolutely wild.
Wild for someone who'd always forget that she's relatively wise, relatively intelligent.
That is the beautiful
weak.
thing about this game is almost every one of my players like, oh wait, I'm also this thing. I'm also really good at this. Everybody played against type this for this game.
My high stats are charisma and smartass. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's the new D&D. They put smartass in there. Far ahead, looking, out past where Corvus is looking, the skies begin to blacken, and it seems that storms begin to form. And absolutely, Marcus looks to you. I do think it is, in fact, time to go. And he begins to, take your arm in his. He begins to walk towards the door to the captain's quarters of the Unicorn. A place that you might have memory of, but he would not. And so as you step through the door, Scarlet, you do hear this very high pitched shriek, kind of extend outward from far to your back, far to where Corvus is still looking. And as you turn back, Corvus is no longer there, but you hear this voice calling out, and you're walking through that door as it does, but you swear it says, "Come back here," kind of in this echoey sort of way. Nevertheless, you pass through the door and onto the other side. You find yourself in a smaller house. There's a little bit of sunlight creeping through. It seems like early morning kind of sunlight. Um, there is a woman, as far as you can tell, who is dressed in simple kind of commoner's clothing, and she's standing at like a counter. You know, it seems like a kitchen. There's a small circular kitchen table, a couple of flowers that are wilting slightly in a vase. It's cozy in here. There's a little bit of like soot smoke or soot residue around where there's a chimney, and you can see there's a soft fire blazing, and there are candles just everywhere. Um, and it almost seems like the candles are being made here. As you can see these large jars of wax that are kind of set everywhere, and even these barrels that seem to be somewhat heated with this liquid wax. And um, you hear like footsteps coming towards the door, and the front door to this small house opens, and there's somehow even younger version of Marcus who comes running through. He has these shorts on, and there's dirt on his knees, and there's this big smile on his face, and he comes running in, and Mum, I found one. And you see this woman turn around, and she's very pretty. She has this soft brown hair that's braided and tied around her head. Is wearing an apron that kind of goes up and around her shoulders. That's stained with all this different colors of wax as you look at it. And as she's drying her hands from the water that she was working on something with, she looks down. And she goes, "All right, let me see then. Found one. Even during the day, I found one." And he opens his hands a little bit, and you see this little flicker of light, this little yellow light. She says, "Well done, Marcus. I do love fireflies. Would you like to put them in a jar then?" She pulls over a jar, and he puts a little twig inside, puts the firefly inside, and now make sure it has holes so it can breathe then. And he pokes a couple holes in the top of it, and sets it in kind of like a darker corner, and you just see this little bit of illumination. And all right then, go ahead and wash up so we can have lunch then. And you see him kind of go over. He goes to wash his hands, and Marcus looks to you. Seems we've come back around to the good dream section, I think. Um, I know that well, this actually seems fair. I was not properly prepared to meet your parents when I did, and so I really wish that I could introduce the two of you.
I will take this.
She did her best. I always wish she would have been able, she would have had the chance to do more. But she gave me all the happiness that she could, and perhaps even more than that.
She made candles.
I always thought it was a bit of a coincidence, my particular um,
Heritage?
affinity, heritage, perhaps. it seemed that her love for fire was much more intense than I'd ever guessed. But yes, she was a candle maker. I used to love making candles. Just the meditative process of dipping over and over, and the more you did, the bigger the candle would grow, and then you had something that would bring light and heat afterwards, something that could illuminate the dark.
You know we can do that again, right? Maybe not on the ship. Maybe that is a home activity. You can teach me how to make candles. I might not be very good at it.
I'm not sure how good I would be anymore. If nothing else, it's a lesson that I took, a lesson to carry light with me where I went. And even in dark times, like when I served under Cain, and in dark times after I lost her, she always made me promise to carry a little light for others. And that's why even when others would tell me that I was a freak and I didn't belong, that I should go to wherever the fire comes from, a place that I'm particularly not a fan of, I knew that really I had a gift that I could bring to others. I could, in dark times, make things a little easier to see. It was maybe 2 months after this. She was gone. We lived on the outskirts of the Empire, somewhat near the sea, but a warship found its way to crash land near our house, and they used our residence to house some of the soldiers, some of the sailors, many of whom were carrying some sort of plague, some sort of illness. The clerics couldn't get to us in time. She caught whatever they had. I was able to burn it off, I suppose. I let the firefly go the same night that she passed. I hoped that with her love of light and fire, she could follow it to someplace better. Someplace where people just didn't take what we had and make us pay for it. I was tossed out of the house shortly after that. Found my way to a small shipping town. Saw the Bloodhound, remembered all the books that I'd read about sailors and pirates and their adventures, all the stories that I would hear. And, well, to be a poor storyteller, one thing led to another.
I hate that this is the only way I get to meet her, but I'm glad I did.
Me too. She would have really liked to. She always liked braiding people's hair as a calming activity, and anyway.
Next one.
I suppose so.
Is there any other door in the cottage?
There's the front door to the house,
Mm-hmm.
and then you see that there's like a side door, which looking out the window, seems to lead to a small garden, and then there is like that's off to the right, off to the left would be a door that perhaps might lead to a bedroom.
Garden door.
Garden door it is. Walking out, you get the immediate smell of like basil and rosemary and probably roses as well, and like a very floral scent that kind of hits you, and then you are somewhere, someplace, some other time else, and that is
The library
on Dionysi.
on Dionysi. More
Interesting.
importantly, the restricted portion.
Mm-hmm. Um, I did not take you for as much of a bibliophile. He's looking around. He's looking at the like blue lit lantern torch sort of sconces around here. All completely different things, but light source that is with some sort of blue fire. The like carved stone steps that have swirled around from this locked vault, this hidden locked vault that you have passed into, and around this circular room, carved into the stone foundation of this island are bookshelves, all of them lined with these very old leathery looking tomes. Some of them seem to even have like stone coverings to them. There's literal like clay tablets and perhaps some things that are not necessarily animal leather. um, many many books saved here, preserved here, and all of them bound with a chain across. And you can see at your feet this very ornate depiction that was blurry even then. Perhaps its clarity a little mixed now, with this symbol of some sort of great creature below. Is is this where you met that thing?
This was the first time that I actually defied Eula in a way that mattered. I don't want to say that I regret this decision, but maybe I regret the circumstances. But
Right.
I didn't really have a choice. Not one that I thought I had anyway. I could not have done what I did on Red Tide to Eula. Not at that time in my life. I didn't think I had the power to do it, so I had to go to someone who I knew Eula was terrified of.
Desperation will drive us to terrible things. And yes, you found the bigger monster.
At what cost?
He goes to hold your prosthetic arm, your metal arm. A cost that we paid. That you paid.
I don't even care about what I paid. But I damned a lot of people to that horror in order to save my own skin. And I can't even say if I went back, I wouldn't do it again.
I am not one to speak overly philosophically. You used one monster to slay another. Eula was taking souls the same as that thing. Her garnering power would have led to the end of our world as we know it. You stopped that, and you used a tool to do so. And a tool is not always the most. My metaphor's falling apart. I apologize.
But if they
There's
were
no
just
one.
tools,
I don't.
does that make me the monster itself?
I don't believe there is a single soul alive who could judge you for what you did. Judge you fairly and equally. There was no one who went through what you went through. And there was no one who achieved what you achieved, having gone through what you went through. You gave greatly, and have continued to do so. And even now, he goes to take your hands, and as he does, you see the writing illuminating on your skin again. That reversal of a curse, that redemption, that breaking that pact provided to you. You have afforded yourself a way to make the world better, a way that would not have been presented to you had you not made these deals. We can't keep looking backwards. We can't keep letting those chains drag us back and anchor us. This was a moment of darkness so that we could find light. Again, not to speak too philosophically. And you looked great with blue hair.
It was definitely a phase. I did not know about that when I made that agreement. Thought I would look the same.
It is a little funny that you changed your hair color after you met your real mom.
Yeah, that was a little weird, isn't it? I get my hair color from my father also, thank you.
I'm just saying, it's the whole, it's not a phase, Mom.
A little bit of a phase.
We, at each of these moments, I realize, have been terribly different people than who we are now. We reshaped by our experiences, by our wins and our losses. This was still Scarlet. You're more than that now. Just that.
I feel like I've been going through a little bit of an identity crisis.
Well, I think that's fair. You've had quite a few identities thrust upon you. I watched you vomit blood after being bitten by a were shark.
Hmm.
Speaking of identities,
Aren't you glad that you can't just add that to the list?
another thing that we made it through.
That's one of the first nights. I'm shocked you didn't run for the hills after that.
At that point, you were my captain. And you were still pretty cute. Even with chum all over the floor.
Turning into a were shark. Peak level of beauty standards by today's expectations.
Not my thing, but listen, in a world of hyena people, cat people, and everything else, you really can't judge.
Don't tell Honey that you find her attractive. She might actually act on it.
I think she would literally eat me.
She would.
And Connery
She
might
absolutely
finish up.
would.
Yes.
No. Not you, anyway.
Well, you know they're dating.
I've had suspicions.
Well, not dating. I don't think it's what you and I have, but I do think it's
There are different type of partnerships that you can choose from, and whatever they have chosen, it is their prerogative, and I am definitely not going to question him on it. There are certain things that you just don't mention to that Leonin.
Convenience.
I do think they would kill and or be killed for one another, but I think their bond goes a lot deeper than any of us know.
This has been...
Would you have killed me if I turned into a wereshark that night?
I don't know. I can't quite remember exactly what you asked me to do.
I was pretty confident in the fact that I could pull through, so I don't think I asked you to kill me.
Oh, then I wouldn't have. Not that night, at least. Listen, there's a certain number of crew I can afford before I have to take out the thing that's...
Before you have to take out the problem.
I was confident in your ability to pull through as well. Everything I had seen up to that point had told me you were a fighter and a survivor, and Winnie talked a lot, in general, but also about you. Which is why I knew that you just needed someone to clean up the blood. You didn't need me there. But I was honored to be there all the same.
I couldn't have done that alone.
And you didn't have to. And that is what I love most about you, is that you so very easily can stand on your own 2 feet. And yet you allow me to pretend like I'm actually doing something next to you.
I can't stand on a flipper.
I would love to see you try.
I have. It does not work. It's a little embarrassing. Literally flopping around like a fish out of water.
Who would have thought? Fire and water.
Does it make it a little funny or a little poetic? Both?
Column A, column B.
Both.
Both.
Got it. When I came down to... Let me rephrase that. When I snuck down to this part of the library, I had only ever heard what a monk had told me. Very little about what he was running from. But I knew enough from Eula's reaction that this was something that actually worried her. And I took that with the smallest grain of hope and dove in. And then she tried to kill me. Actually, me and Proximus.
Everyone, it seemed.
Mostly us two. Because we really definitely told her to fuck off. Very similar timelines there.
Of all the people in your past, she is the one I am glad to have not met the most.
She would have killed you like she killed Corvus. No connections. No weak spots. It was even hard to call what I have friends back then. I had people who knew me well, but we did not really have a relationship. But that has changed. Don't tell Winnie this, but she is one of my best friends. And I am glad to have her, even though she hated the way I acted. I was awful to Winnie. I was awful to Proximus. Akesh and I had a mutual understanding that business had to be done at first. So.
All different people. Now than they were then.
Winnie is still pretty much the same. Just yeah.
But, pretty unfazed, honestly. It's...
I'm concerned about how much she's suppressing. But relatively unchanged. I don't want to be here anymore because I get the heebie-jeebies thinking about any of this. Because I don't know if I have ever shared what this creature looks like, but I'd rather not, so let us leave.
Scarlet, when you say that,
oh no.
It's like when somebody says don't think of pink elephants, right? You have to think of the thing to know what not to think of, right? So when you're like, I'd rather not think of that thing, very much in the way that it is a worm. It worms its way into your mind, and go ahead and give me a wisdom saving throw with disadvantage.
Oh no. $11.
All right. The room starts to darken around you. Those blue torches, kind of like fading, almost as if like a wind is extinguishing them, and then you begin to see this black ichor dripping from the ceiling down to the floor. The stairway is completely gone at this point, and the floor beneath you begins to open up, and as it does, you start to see these teeth circling around, circling about where your feet are, and you both feel that falling sensation that you get in your sleep, but it doesn't jar you from your sleep. It pulls you downwards and downwards, and you feel like you're falling for eternity into the maw of this gargantuan creature, into the blackness, into this humid void. And that is where we're going to take a break. So, thank you for sticking around, folks. This is a very special episode of Horizons Call, just with Kaila and I. The rest of the cast is planning to be back next week. We are raising money for Fauna and Flora International, so it's very much appreciated if you want to consider donating that. There are incentives where you can give crits, advantages, and complications to our game here.
Please start with a complication. Make it real spicy.
Like a real spicy. We're going to be back in about 10 to 15 minutes. Go ahead and do the things, pet your pets, take care of yourselves, and we'll be right back. Vastin, welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to a very special episode of Horizons Call. Technically, a birthday episode for the wonderful Kaila here.
Only 2 months late.
2 months after Kayla's actual birthday. But I promise it was for a good reason. Yeah, this is This is Wildest Dreams. This is a one shot of Horizon's Call, featuring the wonderful Storm Sorcerer Scarlet Shores, and her first mate and romantic paramour, Marcus Ashe, the first mate of Frost's Mercy. So uh, we have essentially this is a game where the two of them have been sharing a dream, going back through each other's memories and surreal moments shaped somewhat by the dream world, somewhat by the reality that brought them to fruition. But as they have been sharing moments of both beauty and sadness, of light and trauma, uh, we we found ourselves at a pivotal point where I have to imagine one of Scarlet's darkest fears, the thing Kraken's fear, has swallowed both Marcus and Scarlet whole. And as the two of you tumble ever lower into the bowels of the dream world itself, darkness just surrounds you. For a while there, it feels humid, that falling sensation. Likely in the material plane, your body's shaking slightly, trying to grasp some sort of solid world beneath you. Um, it is eventually that you start to feel coolness and openness. Still, your eyes adjusting to not the darkness around you, but you soon realize the darkness has become intense light. You are not blinded because you cannot see for the shadow, but blinded for you cannot see for the radiance around you. And once again you see the dream world, the smoky shades of memory and thought reshaping around you once more. And for the first time, you as you land and your feet come into the contact once again, you lose that sensation of falling. The world around you seems less influenced by reality. Every time that you've had one of your memories, one of your dreams, uh, it has been fuzzy at the edges. It has been fuzzy as memory is not always an overly reliable thing, and perhaps the things that you saw were reshaped from multiple experiences. But here, the ground does not seem as solid. And as you look around, you can see that there are strange formations, almost stalagmite. No, what's the other one? So there's
Stalactites? Stalag-
stalactites and stalagmites with a G.
yes.
There's like stalagmite, kind of like crystalline formations all around you, and like stacks of these very large books almost as big as a huge sized creature, even a large sized creature, giant sized books. And you hear this heavy breathing coming from further in of what you soon realize is this cave like structure. And as you turn to Marcus, who has landed next to you, you see this smile kind of creeping across his face. I didn't think I would. I think I know where we are. There's actually somebody I would really like. Well, something I would really like for you to meet.
Something.
Well, sort of. I yeah, just it's everything's fine. Come along. This is going to be great.
I
And
trust you with my life. I
he
want you to
reaches out
remember
a
that.
hand.
I trust you with my life, even when we are dreaming. Just letting you know.
It is mutual, I assure you. And he takes your hand and guides you further into the cave, and that heavy breathing only grows louder. And as you crest around a corner, you see a massive dragon, almost as big as the cave itself, its head reaching the very far away ceiling, kind of like this long neck arching down. And it's like no dragon you've ever seen in any sort of depiction. If anything, it's almost comical in its proportions. It has this big kind of like bell-shaped body with a big round belly and these little stubby legs and stubby feet. And it has these two little T-Rex arms that are holding one of the books like way too far from its head. And these little like pince-nez glasses on its little draconic snout. And it looks down with these big happy eyes. Oh, hello, Proximus. Proximus, Jesus Christ. Hello, Marcus. Hello, Scarlet.
Hello?
Scarlet, this is Anecdote, the dragon.
What?
This is an Anecdote. I know you sort of know, but this is Scarlet. It's kind of shouting up at it. It's Anecdote, the dragon. He was an imaginary friend that I had when I was younger. He was so I've always had a love for dragons. You know that, and a lot of it comes from the stories that my mom would tell me when I was little, and she gave me a little dragon statuette named Anecdote, and an Anecdote. All the dragon stories would be about him. He was my introductor to dragons. Since he was one, he could tell me about them, and I trusted him and his word, and so I started thinking about what Anecdote would look like, and it's been a long time since I had a dream about Anecdote. We must be rather deep in the dream world now, but yes, this is Anecdote. He's a very well-read dragon, and also a red dragon. He's a well-read red dragon.
Okay. Okay. This doesn't surprise me at all. I'm not going to lie.
Fair. But kind of nice, all the same. Anecdote, what have you been up to all of these years?
Keeping track of all those dragon facts you read about, I'm sure.
I got half of them from Anecdote, and they're all true. Anecdote blows out like a lot of like comical sweat. It comes out in rings as it comes out of his nostrils. And I've just been reading up and learning more and more there is to know. He's just looking at Scarlet and like the look on her face. Is there something you'd like to know about dragons, little lady?
Nothing that I can think of right now.
Is there something you'd like to know about Marcus?
And you're going to willingly tell me?
I'll tell you anything you want to know.
Deepest, darkest secret. Let's go. Right now.
I worry that that's me. No, I am, of course, Anecdote the dragon. I am the most trusted part of Marcus's deep mind, and I am knowledgeable in all things there are dragons. I'm knowledgeable of many things. You could ask me. He like leans down, this huge form kind of leaning down into your face, in almost like eye to eye with you. You could ask me almost anything, Scarlet, and I would be able to tell you. I am knowledgeable of all things. So, Scarlet, we are going to consider Anecdote. Essentially, I can't remember if it's scrying or it's a divination spell. I'm gonna pull up the divination spells real quick, but it's the one where you can ask 3 questions that have yes or no answers.
Very similar to what Acacia had just done.
Yes, that one. That's the one I'm trying to remember. I think it's commune. Yes. You are essentially being allowed to commune with an extra-dimensional spirit who has presented itself as this fun dragon person, but is nonetheless a divine being. So, you will get a correct answer for each question. You might receive unclear as an answer if a question pertains to information that lies beyond the deity's knowledge. In a case where a one-word answer could be misleading or contrary to the deity's interest, you might receive a short phrase as an answer instead.
Is Eula's thought smile really dead?
No.
Oh, fuck. Is going north to get the next ring the best option?
Not necessarily.
I was hoping there'd be more clarity there. Enough with
There are
them.
many options to provide clarity.
Okay, I've got the business things done with, and I will have nightmares about that later, but that is a whole different ordeal. Let's do something fun. What is the one thing in this world that Marcus Ash wants the most?
I'm sorry, the one thing that Marcus...
Ash wants the most.
You? Oh, I killed Kaila. Oh, she's dying.
That's terrible timing! Terrible timing for my drink to want to kill me.
It's a Romeo and Juliet thing. We're going out the same way.
Oh, God! Oh, no. No.
Somebody get a knife.
Once, not already has.
To spend his life with you, then.
And I guess I'm out of questions and I can't ask you how long that life is going to be.
No, you can't.
Would you even know?
Yes.
Oh.
Because I'm Anecdote, the dragon who knows many things. And he comes swoops out of your face, becomes comically large once more, and it's just kind of goofy flipping through pages. Want to see pictures of Tiamat? And there's a centerfold that comes out.
Just a massive centerfold of Tiamat.
Just keeps flipping.
But is it a traditional photo or drawing of Tiamat, or is it a pinup style?
It's a pinup style, but it is the five-headed dragon pinup style.
Oh, that's what they're using. That's what you
look at. Turns around and himself. Oh, terribly sorry. I think you have other places to be. It has been very nice seeing you again, Marcus. I am always here if you're ever looking to learn more about your favorite interests. And it was very nice meeting you, Scarlet. I hope we will see each other again.
Likewise.
The doors are, well, everywhere. And as you look around, there are flying doors literally all about now.
You want to see if you can fly now?
Okay, and uppies. No.
You cannot just say what little Joffrey says and think that you'll go up.
It works for him. What do you say?
He is almost basically like a child. I think about it.
All right. No.
Fair.
but I can jump a lot, so there's that.
Then I guess we're jumping to the next door.
Yeah, Scarlet, go ahead and give me a dexterity check. This can be, we'll call this acrobatics. Unless you would do athletics.
I do get advantage on those.
Mm-hmm.
So 19 plus 5, 24.
Very nice.
Apparently good at jumping.
You and Marcus go to parkour off of a stack of the giant books, and he is first to grab onto one of the door handles and like turn it with his body weight, and as the door opens, you both are able to leap through as much as you feel this gravitational pull hulling you through. And as you do, you just hear Anecdote yelling, "Farewell then, till we see each other again." And you are transported once again, finding yourselves almost like very elegantly flying through the door, only for gravity to shift itself and you like slam against a wall.
I have to
What-
stop going through doorways where gravity is going to affect me immediately after. I see the dimension door into the initially into Halvaruk when we had just been in water, and very much still had Finn Scarlet, and thus no legs to stand on.
Flop, 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 flop.
Literally just flip.
So I'm sorry, where are we now?
We are at the fancy party that we went to, and I cannot remember the name of where Winnie's from.
Oh, yes. The fancy party at in Full Emerald.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that.
Yes. Okay. Cool. For this, go ahead, give me odds or evens.
Evens.
Right. You get the immediate sense, like, there's certain nightmares that you have, like, where it starts out fine, but then you kind of, like, have that feeling of dread, that weight on you, that kind of permeates throughout. This is not that. This is definitely lighter. It's more surreal. You recognize yourselves, like, in Fall Amarillo. The your brain tells you that. You know, the dream has set you up in that. But you're far deeper into your dream than you were before. This isn't surface level, this isn't memory, that you are deeper in the ocean of dream, to where this is where things get weird. And you look around to see that you and Marcus, though you have slammed into a wall, that wall is no longer there. There is like emerald light shining, very kaleidoscopic, almost like through stained glass everywhere. And everyone who is dancing around you is standing on one of those kaleidoscopic fragments of light. You and Marcus included. Dressed to the nines as you are, you look around and you see far off there is Winnie and Bee. There's the king and queen of Full Lamaril. You see Scarlet and Honey. You see Acacia's dads. You see Acacia dancing by herself. I wouldn't impose necessarily anybody on Acacia. I'm not sure Scarlet necessarily sees Acacia being with anybody. If that's different, please let me know. You also see some enemies. You see, like, there's Nerean Imperials that are, like, dancing with each other around you, not really paying attention. They're there. Couple of were sharks, just, like, kind of dancing with one another. There's the why can't I remember? The genie woman.
The Marid.
The Marid, thank you. Who's dancing with her Myrmidon, her water elemental Myrmidon. All around, just faces and beings that you've seen so many times before, and there's kind of like this lilting music that's just carrying the two of you as you feel in a crowded space, yet also very private and alone. And Marcus looks down. Oh, I like this memory. Well, the memory part of it.
The first part of the night. Not quite the intrusion. Invasion? Both.
Well, both. But not something it seems like we have to deal with. She seems rather content.
So did the were sharks. It's an odd image I'll never get out of my brain. If I remember any of this.
That's a very toothy kiss.
Do you think they get stuck?
I think it's kind of like a wishbone with a turkey that whoever ends up with more teeth in the end is the winner.
I don't think there's winners in that situation, but
This is a good opportunity for us to finish the dance.
that would be nice.
Something tells me this isn't lasting for much longer.
The dream?
Yes, hopefully. Just that.
You never know. We do a lot of questionable things that put our lives in danger. Oh. We don't necessarily live the standard lifestyle.
It's true. There's never a guarantee of tomorrow, but that's also brings me to the realization that throughout this little adventure that you and I have shared, I have told you reasons that I love you, but I've not outright said that I do, in fact, love you. Scarlet, Dianthe. Just didn't want to go without that. Just in case we don't wake up. I'm sure we will, but no guarantees and all that.
I love you too.
I know. And I'm not going to ask you to marry me in a dream because that seems rude. Because it's not real.
But isn't it just a little? Yes, the things and the places and the people, they are not real. They are memories and figments of our imaginations, but we are real. You and I together, we are real.
So hypothetically, if I was to ask you, you would say,
If we make it out of these situations alive, I think I could live with that.
good. I think I could as well. Let's hold on to that then.
So that's
Brain check.
let's maybe live to do that.
Yes, and I will have my people call your people, and I'm sure we can arrange some sort of amenable sort of arrangement between the two of us. A dowry, of course, will need to be sufficiently put into place, but I'm sure that...
Contact my father. You will have to
Yes.
contact my father.
Yes, I will need to borrow a shell phone.
Please don't contact my father. He had very strong opinions on you being a fire genasi. He likes you just fine. He just thinks it's weird.
He's not wrong.
He is not.
It's good news, then.
Maybe let's not make it a big deal if we do get
It's
out of
it's
this.
most certainly. I'm not making it anything. It's not a big deal. It is the most mundane of all mundanities.
We are anything but mundane.
What? No.
Weird.
You are simply a twice pact broken warlock siren who was entrusted to the servitude of a demigod seeking to take over the entire world, who then slayed that patron by use of an even more great and terrible and eldritch entity, who then you broke free from, losing your arm, replacing it semi-robotically, and finding your own inner power. Me, just cast off wayward first mate of a great pirate, only to mutiny him, serve an even worse pirate, um, son of a flame lord, pirate from a distant plane, us brought together by war and turmoil. And I mean, it's every day that happens. What
You
is this?
forgot to add the whole Redeemer Queen of Storms in there also. Remember,
Oh,
I
I'm
am a
sorry. Did I
pirate
forget one of?
queen.
Did I forget one of your titles? I'm so sorry.
Does that make you what? What would that make you if we got married? You certainly couldn't be a pirate king. That's not how that works.
It would make me very lucky, is what it would make me.
We can get you a crown too, don't worry.
Maybe a tiara.
Maybe a tiara.
The room shifts around you. The light that you are dancing on, kind of casting you all into this timeless sort of this timeless sort of like bubble that seems to carry you, and the room just swirls until it's color, just kind of like that green with mixes of gold in between, and you are just outside of everything. You're outside of time and space, and all true reality. And the only true thing, the only thing that's so crisp and clear, are the two of you, as real to one another as you would be, in as you were awake, as you are now in dreams. Scarlet, go ahead and give me one more wisdom saving throw at disadvantage.
15.
The room continues to swirl, and what is this like for Scarlet? This moment, this dancing with Marcus.
Pleasantly dizzying.
Um, Dizzying, I think, is appropriate, as there definitely becomes a point where the reality around you, the surreality, I should say, around you, almost becomes more unsettling than warm and comforting the way it was before, and you start to get that pit in your stomach, that feeling of anxiety that comes when nightmares tend to claw their way into our subconscious. And Scarlet, you begin to see the floor around you, this, the where your feet seem to rest, starting to darken, and tendrils creeping up, not Icarus the way they were before, but like tentacles reaching up and around you. And it is in a moment that you feel something grip around your ankles, and you see Marcus's eyes go wide as he seems to feel the same, and then both of you are ripped downwards. And as you are pulled down into the depths, the depths of not only your dreams but seemingly the water itself, you see before you something that you had hoped, perhaps even prayed, that you would never see before. And again, you look through the darkness of the water, at that thing that was the Fen, the thing that was the true version of Eula Salt Smile, only a facsimile of this true demigod, this kraken of all krakens, the mother of all krakens herself, the great unbeheld, this semi-humanoid, almost mermaid-like figure herself, a humanoid type body with great claws on the end and an eyeless face with a gaping maw of rows and rows of teeth, the bottom half just countless tentacles all writhing in and around one another, streaming up to what seems like hair, only for them to be a Medusa-like head of tentacles all grasping out. And as she screeches out towards you, you realize that this is what your nightmare has chosen to depict itself as. And I will have you and Marcus both roll for initiative, please.
Yay! Ooh. 11. That's not faring well for how my dice are rolling now.
Okay. So, this thing, we'll call it Eula, is going to go first. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's see here. So, I will need, as this creature shrieks outwards at you, and it seems to be made more of shadow and kind of this like green bioluminescence. So even within the dream itself, this nightmare, it's a darker version of Eula. This is, as you are reasoning, not Eula herself, but this is the way your fear remembers her. So I will need a wisdom saving throw, please.
16.
Great, exactly what you needed.
Oh, okay.
You will take 9 points of psychic damage on that as you feel this tightening around your mind that you're able to shake off. But as a claw reaches out to you, you see these inky-like tendrils twisting through the water towards your very mind, and you're able to shunt them away. But still, there's the psychic damage of just fighting that off. It is your turn, and then Marcus will go.
Chet. The smartass in me wants to use speak with animals, but that's not going to help anyone. What happens if I cast banishment?
What indeed? What's the save?
It is a charisma save of 18.
Okay. So I rolled a 15 plus 8, so it does succeed.
It does. Okay. Was worth a shot.
It is worth a shot. It might be worth another shot too, but high charisma save for this thing.
Okay.
Okay. So it is Marcus's turn. Marcus is going to look to you. You are both kind of swimming at this point, whether you are in your fishy form or not. I leave up to you.
Fish.
But okay. He is going to look to you, like realizing he doesn't have to hold his breath. He is going to realize like range is probably best, as there's quite a size to this thing, and he'll look to you and he'll say, "This is apparently what I bring light," and he will produce flame, and he is going to launch a small fireball at this thing. It seems that as the flame is produced, you realize like, well, it feels like you're underwater. It's he doesn't seem to be affected. He's not,
Not
having to hold
actual
his breath.
water.
Yeah, it's dream water.
Dream water.
Dream water. Coming to Kroger near you. Okay, so he is going to do 3d8 damage to that as he did hit. And oh man, I hate when D&D Beyond actually rolls them. But I clicked it anyway, so we'll get a roll here in 10 minutes. Okay, I think that's 11. It is. Okay, so he's going to do 11 points of damage, and then he is going to... I think he's going to try to disengage, but he'll like move in front of you and disengage. So if she does want to target him, she'll probably miss and will likely not hit you as well because hey, that's a fun way that D&D works. Okay, it is back to her turn. She is. Let's see. Okay. She is going to use 2 of her attacks here. The first one is going to be where a claw reaches out, tries to grab at Marcus. And wow, that's actually going to miss. I thought for sure that would hit. That is a +8 to hit, but she rolled a nat 1. So this next one will be another mind thrust at Scarlet. So another wisdom saving throw from Scarlet, please.
That does not make it. That is a 5 + 8.
Okay. 20 points of psychic damage.
Oh, shit. Okay, neat.
Yeah. And actually, I'm sorry, I need to do a saving throw for Marcus. Okay. I'm sorry. When Marcus did his damage, he is going to take 12 points of psychic damage because it seems like there is feedback to this thing.
Yay.
All right. Scarlet, it's your turn.
If this is our dream, this is our nightmare. This
Mm-hmm.
this should work, and I will cast banishment again.
Okay. Do you say anything when you cast banishment?
Along the lines of "Go the fuck away."
Okay. Let's roll again. 14 + 8 on that one.
Mm-mm.
So.
Okay.
Huh.
I'm not gonna do that again. I'm attempt.
Huh.
There were my attempts. I am done trying to outsmart the nightmare.
I wouldn't say that's necessarily the worst thing in the world, but Marcus is up. He is going to shoot another fireball, and I think, yeah, he's going to action surge as well, so that he can shoot 2 fireballs at her. That'll hit. It'll hit. Nice. Okay. So let me do a saving throw for him as well. He does succeed on that saving throw, and he does 35 points of damage to it. Okay. And where's this thing? There we go. Okay, so you don't see him take any psychic damage for that attack. It is that thing's turn again. You see it start moving towards the two of you, this like impossibly large form, this titanic creature, the colossal creature moving towards you. Scarlet, odds or evens?
Odds.
It points to Marcus, like a single claw, kind of like going to touch him right on the chest, and it is going to try to possess. This is a possession ability. Okay.
Get a reaction? Can I counterspell it?
It's not a spell, unfortunately. It is an action. It's like an ability that this
What
thing
the
has.
fuck is this?
So, okay. Marcus needs to succeed. What is it? DC 16. Okay, let's go +5. Oh no, actually, why does he have a +1?
I don't know. You built him.
Yeah, it's charisma. I thought rogues were supposed to be good at charisma, but I must have not given him that. So yes, it's DC 16 charisma saving throw, and he rolled a 14 plus 1. It's only a 15. You watch as this shadowy form, this giant form, that is the Great Unbeheld, was the great, or at least how you remember, your fear remembers the Great Unbeheld, pulls its way into Marcus, seemingly like going through every pore into his eyes, his nose, his mouth, his ears, like until this massive shadow just seems to completely disappear inside of him. And Marcus turns towards you, and in Eula's voice, you see him smile. You don't hear like the voice come from Marcus. His mouth doesn't move when you hear this, but in your head, you hear Eula's voice. Hello, darling. Never thought you'd see me again, did you?
Get out.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is a new residence. Uh, I fear that if you would like to evict me, or rather, I'll state it more bluntly, since I know you weren't always the smartest of the bunch, which is fine. I was always happy to help. If you want to kill me, you'll have to kill him. And she like extends his arms outwards and just, opens him up for any attack. Come on now, do your little blasty thing that I taught you.
No.
What do you mean, no?
No.
I'm sorry, I made it sound like a suggestion before. You're right. I'm not asking. Scarlet, I need you to kill this person, and I'm telling you to do so.
And I don't listen to you anymore.
I see you've got your big girl pants on. Captain now, and breaker of chains, and so many titles.
More
Weight
than you
down.
had.
I never liked titles much. Titles make you a target for things, and I was always happy to have what I had. If not a little bit more every now and then.
I
Come
said
now,
what I
Scarlet.
said. I don't listen to you anymore. You don't control me. You have no hold on me. You can't make me do anything.
That's not true. That's why I'm here. It's because there's still a part of you that holds on to what we had, to everything I gave you. You don't want to walk away from all of that, do you, Scarlet?
But I already did.
But I'm giving you another chance. I'm giving you another chance now, and you can come back. I'm coming back. I never stay gone for long. And this is a good opportunity for you, Scarlet. An opportunity I don't afford to many, but I always liked you, and I always thought you had potential. So why don't you just see a good thing for what it is? And maybe I'll let this one live. Come on back to Eula.
No. You will have
Uh,
to kill me. Or you'll have to kill me before I kill you first. You're not really here. You might be coming back to the material plane. But I will find you first. And I will kill you again. And again and again if that is what it takes. You will not have a place in Domaris. I will promise you that.
Well, you've made your point clear then. Kaila, go ahead and give me, we'll do one more banishment here.
Okey-doke.
Not a spell slot banishment, but one more of intent. We'll roll with disadvantage. Wow, a 2 and a 3.
Dang.
You watch as Marcus, like, his eyes blink and open once again to the cindery light that you're used to. He blinks once again, and that blackness, that Icarus blackness, is there, and you see, almost like when you gave yourself to your second patron, that, like, those tears kind of streaming, that black Icarus tears streaming down from his face as this thing is now being, pushed out of his body. And you hear Eula's voice one more time as there's this look of, like, consternation and pain on Marcus's face, this thing that's leaving him forcefully. Eula's voice fading as it does, but I did mean what I said, Scarlet. If you want to kill me, you're going to have to kill him. Remember that. And then she's gone. And you find Marcus just, like, coughing, that like pressure of water fading from around you. You find yourselves, like, your feet come back to solid ground one more time. This empty, kind of just open white space all about. That was very unpleasant.
It looked it.
Thank you for not Eldritch blasting me.
I feel like that might have been more unpleasant than what you just went through.
Yes. Definitely something I would have felt. I don't know what that thing was. What was that her, or was that you remembering her? Do you think?
I would love to have an answer, but I am afraid it is both.
This has been certainly a wild dream. A wildest dream, even.
Cue Taylor Swift. We don't have that kind of budget here. I'm so sorry.
And if we had Taylor Swift money, ugh. You are standing in, like, this very clean, open, like, standard movie telling you that you're either in heaven or dreams, where it's,
We're
there's
certainly not in heaven.
yeah, no, well, it could be, but no, there's this, like, far extent of whiteness all about, but it's we could say it's swirling a little bit, very cloud-like, prismatic here and there. Here and there you can hear voices, familiar ones, familiar sounds, and you realize that you have found your way so far into the depth of dreams themselves that you've almost come full circle back around, and you have come back to the cusp of the dream world. You have fought through REM, and you can see that there is now a single door up ahead, seeming like it's almost floating in this swirling miasma of thought, memory, and imagination, as you know you could like reach out and touch any of these wisps, and it would take you to another place, another time, another thought, another person. It would carry you to anywhere that your brain could possibly concoct, anywhere that your imagination could form. All of this being the pastels, the paints of dreams, all just swirling about. And so your intuition tells you that here at this entryway to the world of dreams, this door must be the way out. A simple wooden door.
Are you ready to wake up?
I think I am. Knowing that you will be there, I'm ready to face everything that the waking world has planned for us. And I'm ready to thwart every single one of those plans and do something half-cocked and completely unprepared and
A little unhinged.
slightly unhinged.
Slightly
And I'm
unhinged.
ready to do all of that with you. What about you?
I want to be perfectly clear when I say I have never promised you a normal life. We are pirates. We are hunting for things that shouldn't quite exist, but they do. We have almost every single odd paired against us at all time. We have the Empire breathing down our necks, and we have eldritch horrors at our back doors. And I can't promise a single thing other than I am not going anywhere.
Well, good for you. That is the only promise that I need. Never wanted a simple life. I fear not the eldritch horrors, nor the Empire, nor other pirates, nor denizens of the sea. I only fear not having you.
And possibly me when I first wake up in the morning.
I like your morning breath. It smells like low tide.
That's not what I was talking about.
Yeah, well. I promise that I will always be there. And that no matter what gods or ancient beings or anything else says, I am going to damn them all to stay by your side for as long as you want me there.
As long as you will have me.
Forever sounds nice. I don't know about
Forever
you.
sounds impossible, but our
Well,
lifespans maybe.
when have we not done the impossible?
You have a valid point there.
Ladies first, then.
How about we do this together? And I will offer my
Sure.
hand.
Okay, but if we wake up in the same body. Or if we happen to Freaky Friday.
You'll get to know what it's like to fly.
That's true. That's true.
And to, captain a ship.
Wow, low blow. I get to do that sometimes when you forget that I exist.
You captained the ship when I went missing.
Uh-huh. Fine. Onward then. To the impossible.
To the impossible.
The two of you walk forward. The door opening on its own as you do. And through that crepuscular sort of time of night and day, that semi darkness, that brevity of light of dawn and dusk, you return to your own corporeal bodies, awakening. We'll say not necessarily in the Duragar scenario, just for the sake of continuity. We can say for the sake of continuity that the two of you awake uh, the morning of our previous game to hear the clattering of something downstairs.
Forgot about that.
And as Scarlet and Marcus tuck away that pseudo memory of dream and nightmare, the way that we all do, the way that we can hold on to the way that our brain forms things as not being true memories, but still pieces of ourselves, pieces of ingenuity and invention and memory, and pieces of us, pieces of our souls. We hold on to them. We hold on to the deja vu, and we hold on to the nouveau. And through it all, they move forward. Shaped, perhaps unknowingly, by what has occurred here. Themselves and more. And we will find out what happens to them next time on our main Horizons Call show. So join us for that. I want to extend a very special thank you to Kaila. This was for Kayla's birthday, so very, very belated birthday. Happy birthday to Kaila. But also for spending this time. If there's one thing I'd like to do with Kaila, it is intense existential one-shots about the concept of dreams and who it makes us as people. Where I speak at a lower register with a British accent. That's just there's a through line to what we do
If you
here.
want to catch the previous one, it's Mara. It's probably on the YouTube.
I hope I don't make any secret about this. Mara is firmly in my mind where I peaked as a GM. Like I don't think I will ever make anything better than Mara, in major part to Kaila. Like I think that's the best game I ever streamed, I ever put out there. I'm so glad it was streamed, because like
We
I will
have
never
that
make
for
any.
almost forever.
Oh my god, I'll never make anything better than that. So that's my peaked in high school moment. Um, thank you all for joining us. If you have been able to donate to Fauna and Flora International, thank you so much for being able to do so. If you have not, totally get it. If you have a couple extra bucks sitting around and you're looking for a great cause to put it towards, Fauna and Flora International is a fantastic organization, works all around the world. Currently, they are dealing with forest fires all over the world. Specifically, their main cause right now is in Belize, because they had a headquarters down there that actually they lost to forest fires. So as this world is shaped by what we know to be climate change, Fauna and Flora International works diligently with governments all around the world to preserve and protect ecosystems and the animals that live within them. So please consider putting some money towards their very great cause. And check out Humblewood on Sundays. I'll talk more about that, but we're doing giveaways with some Fauna and Flora merch, which is pretty cool as well. So they're really great organization. And again, I really appreciate Kaila for taking this time to raise some money for them as well. We'll do more channel stuff here in a second. I want to hand things over to Kaila real quick to say more about herself and where you can find more of her. So Kaila, the floor is yours.
Hi, hello. My name is Kaila. I have been your Siren Storm Sorcerer Scarlet Choice, who is going to go have an existential crisis now. It's fine. Sometimes you ask the questions that you don't really want the answers to, but it's nice to know. I'm gonna go scream into the void and possibly plan a wedding. We'll see. Yeah, you can. I am a Sword and Key exclusive.
It's true. Very lucky.
That is here. That is me. You can find me on social medias at KMC, spelled out If you can't find me there, add an underscore. It's there, I promise. I sometimes paint things and do creative aspects. I've been painting a model that is almost done after not having painted for an entire year. That model is almost done. So yeah, I am in the Discord doing cool things sometimes. Mostly harassing my favorite people. If you want to join me there, in the chat.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Kayla. Yeah, please check out Kayla. Pay her to paint stuff and stuff like that too, because she's planning a real life wedding and it costs monies. So, she's an artist. I can't paint miniatures. My hands are too big, and I have they shake and stuff, and I'm just not good at it. So, yeah, please, if you also find yourself having those problems, check out Kayla's stuff. Give her money. Um, this is a Sword and Key game. I am Derek, Sword. I use him pronouns. I am the sword half of Sword and Key. So I highly recommend that you check out Sword and Key, all of Sword and Key stuff at beacons.ai/Sword and Key. You can join our Discord, which is on that link. You can also see all of our socials. It's Twitter, Blue Sky, and Instagram. All of those have underscores between the words, so it's sword underscore and underscore key. You can see our affiliates, including Eldritch Foundry for custom minis for NATTRPG. Wishbone Cosmetics for your makeup needs, and Hit Point Press for stuff like Griffin's Saddlebag Book 2, or Book 1 once it comes back into stock, or the Humblewood books, or If I Were a Lichman, or animated spell cards, or what is it? It's Sina Una. It's the Filipina-based TTRPG. They produce that as well. They have a lot of really great stuff, and you can use our custom link to buy stuff and help yourself out and help us out. It's really appreciated. You can also get like custom like music licenses, or if you're really into Hubblewood, they have like the little Owlin plush. It's really cute, really great stuff. Minis on there too for your Hubblewood game. So check all that out. We are looking for we're actually going to talk on Thursday with a dice maker to affiliate with them, and we're looking to affiliate with potentially a clothing maker here soon as well. So lots of really great companies out there. We really want to support all of them if we can. You can also find all of the links for ongoing philanthropic endeavors. Unfortunately, again, the Pally links are down for Horizon's Call and for Gate Night. So you can't tip anymore through Pally. It's just not being supported anymore. So if you do have some extra monies sitting around and you do want to tip players specifically, most people have a Ko-Fi, Coffee, or they have other links like that. Please, consider checking those out. Otherwise, please consider donating to some of the great causes that we're in support of, including National Alliance for Mental Illness, which we will be closing down that campaign soon. That was our October campaign. It kind of had a bit of a carryover. Canadian Companions for Independence, Palestine Children's Relief Fund, or Fauna and Flora International. Again, please consider joining our Discord. We're going to have some applications out pretty soon here. So if you want to hop on those, that's our Discord's going to be the first place that we post those. Our socials will be second. Other stuff. I don't think there's much other stuff besides the calendar. So let's take a look at the calendar. So today is the 18th of January. Looking at tomorrow, we have the next episode of Humblewood Yonderbound, also in support of Fauna and Flora International. It's at 10 a.m. Pacific time. Kayla has been wonderful enough not only to produce this, but also produce that. So definitely check that out. It's going to be a big episode. We have another Warlock character dealing with her own patron problems. So I should say the character uses he and pronouns. Yeah, the character uses he and pronouns. The player uses she her pronouns. So, but yes, Clarence, the Lupu, little bunny man.
We're facing the consequences of our action.
Yes, you know, this is the kind of thing where I'll be upfront. Shadow and I did have a conversation about like what this might look like. Not planning out like dialogue or anything, but just consent is important. And I think this will be a nice kind of like. I don't think we're going to have another Scarlet moment. I think it's going to be a little bit different, but I think it'll still be very interesting because I think that's one of the beautiful things about Warlocks is you can play them 100 different ways. After that, on Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. Pacific time, we have the return of Gate Night. It's where Shadow, LD, and I play Baldur's Gate 3, the only video game currently streamed here on Sword and Key. And then on the 24th, on Friday, we have our next movie night. Sword and Key movie nights are exclusively on our Discord, so you got to be on the Discord to participate, but they're totally free. There's six, sometimes like 6:15 or 6:30, depending on when I get home from work. But 6 p.m. Pacific time. On our Discord, we're doing a monthly Ghibli watch. So this month we're watching Pompoko, the Tanuki 1994 flick. And then Horizons Call is planned to be back on the 25th, next Saturday at 3 p.m. Pacific time for a regular episode. And that's pretty much going to get us through January. We'll have another Gate Night episode. Humblewood will be off the 26th, but I'm hoping to get our applications out by the end of the month so that we can get some stuff running in February or even early March. So we're looking to have applications probably for Curse Captains of Cthulhu, potentially Mice of Legend, as well as a handful of other games. We always Eva and I get each other a bunch of different stuff for around the holidays. So we have a number of games that we're both like, oh well, we could run this here and run this there. So we'll have stuff out soon. All that said, again, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you for spending your time with us. Thank you for donating, and we'll see you again soon. We'll see you hopefully tomorrow morning. If not, then hopefully next week. But regardless of when we see you next, make sure that you take care of yourselves, take care of others, and as always, fair winds and following seas, brave mariners.
We are going to raid into Charmed Fantasy, so take all of your kindness and well wishes and take them over there. And we will
Wunderbar.
see you tomorrow morning.
Wonderful. Thank you, Kaila.